who are not part of, oh, that's interesting, the background the background doesn't show up. All the slides are actually in color with a color background.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
They're on the screen.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I think,
Weird.
it was a little too light, the background.
Okay, never mind. There was a very cute background, but it doesn't matter. Since most of you are going to be at Expo, we were going to devote this presentation to Expo. For those of you who are not, there are a lot of hints here that you can use for other events. And maybe next year you'll be at Expo, so hopefully that will be a help. But wait, you're in the way.
I'm going to do it for you.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do an overview of Expo, including some preparing to sell slides, and Chris Cooper will do table presentation. She's got some stuff over there. Let me see if it works.
You got it? Come closer.
Jeez, that's really well. Okay. As Dave mentioned, we have in the past had parking issues. So this year we've solved that problem by asking people to unload near the main entrance. We'll have carts available. You bring your books to your table, immediately come out, get in your car, and drive it to the parking lots by the pickleball carts, or even further if you'd like. But we want to save the parking lots near the main entrance for those people who want to come see you and buy your books. There's very limited parking up front. There's only one way in and one way out, unlike some of the other rec centers. People will pull in the afternoon. If there's no place to park, they just pull right back out. So the last thing that we want to do, we have 90 authors, so even if 45 of them park close to the building, you're taking up probably half of the spots. So we will have, as Dave said, we will have volunteers with golf carts who can follow you out to your car and take you back, so now nobody has an excuse that they can't walk that far. And please, follow that guideline. Okay, info and rules. I'm going over this because it appears every year that people don't actually, unfortunately, read what I've sent out. So I will, just to make sure that everybody understands. Exhibitors may enter the building at 8 a.m. Tables set up must be completed no later than 9:30. The event starts at 10. We have people wandering around the building, village residents, earlier than that. And some of them will start coming in at 9:30 and want to see what we're offering. It's nice to have it all set up and ready to go so we're presenting a professional presentation. The event ends at 3. And we're counting on everybody staying until 3. This has not been an issue at Book Expo. I've been at other events where it has been an issue, where people have left early. That is just incredibly rude to your fellow members and your fellow exhibitors, and it makes the event look less than professional. If you sell out, which I'll have another slide on that later, but if there's an emergency, please let one of our volunteers know. They'll all have volunteer badges on, and Sandy Swanberg in the back there is our event day coordinator, and I thank her for taking over. It's a big event, big job for the day. Coffee and snacks. This is kind of funny because every year when we have the survey results, there are people who thank us for the coffee and snacks, and there's always at least one person who says, gee, it would be really nice if you had coffee and snacks. So I'm letting everybody know that in the kitchen there will be coffee and snacks. Nothing, big, but there'll be, something that you can nosh on. What I recommend, however, since most of us don't really like leaving our tables, because hopefully there'll be a ton of people coming through who want to look at your books and talk to you, I bring my own water drink, sandwich, whatever, because it's a long day. And if you're setting up at 9 and you're there until after 3, I assume you're going to be hungry. So bring some kind of food and drink for yourself. The other thing that's important, and I think anybody who has been at Expo will agree with this, the temperature swings wildly. You will either be sweating or you'll be freezing. Depending on what room you're in, it starts out pretty level, and then the temperature ramps up and goes down because some rooms get warm, some rooms, if you're in the Bradley room, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll be shivering. So please bring a coat or a jacket, sweater, so that you're not uncomfortable. Posters and signs. If you have a 3-foot table, you can have an easel on the table with an 8.5 by 11. If you have a full table, a 6-foot table, you can have an 11 by 18. And that's basically because of your fellow exhibitors and to make sure we're not impinging on anybody else's space. Same thing with signs not on the table. You can have an easel behind you, as long as it's not impinging on somebody else's space, with a sign up to 18 by 25. Or is that 18 by 24? I'm sorry, 18 by 24, which is a pretty decent size. The thing that we don't allow, however, are the retractable signs like we have for the Writers League, which is right outside the door. They're big and obtrusive, and we have tables that are in long rows next to one another, and it's just not going to work with all of those people. And obviously, don't hang anything on the walls, and you'll notice something about the layout where it says about fire doors. Last year, they came in and rearranged our tables so that we were not blocking fire exits. So you'll notice if you look at some of the layout that you'll have 2 or 3 tables, and then there'll be a wider space, and then there'll be, and that's because there's an exit or something that they don't want us to block. And so it's not as symmetrical as you would think it should be. This is something always people bring up, like how many books should I bring? And that's very, very dependent on your genre, on your personal marketing activities, really key, and if you have a new title since last Expo. If you, for example, have a cute children's book, you may sell more than if you have dark sci-fi, just off the top of my head. Just because everybody you've got a lot of grandparents coming through. And they might want to buy grandparent gifts for their kids. However, the flip side of that is, if you have dark sci-fi, and you've got a really good marketing plan, and you've invited 50 people to come to Expo and 30 of them show up, well, then maybe you will sell a lot of books. It all depends on a variety of variables. So it's hard to tell anybody specifically. The other thing is, if you're selling the same book every year and you're at Expo, odds are, unless you've developed some new fans, your sales will not be as good as if you've developed potentially a fan base and they come to your table and say, what have you got since last year? If you're writing a series or whatever. So it's very, very hard to judge. I suggest that you bring at least 12 of each of your titles, and if you have only one title, bring as many as you can carry, whatever you think. What if you sell out? And this is something Penny Thomas had pointed out, that last year somebody next to her sold out, and they missed a really good opportunity. Selling out is actually a pretty good thing. Put up a sign that says sold out. That says something to people. Welcome people to your table. Hand them a business card or a bookmark, which hopefully most people will have, and maybe take their names. Get some dialogue going so that you can interact with them later, or that they can find your book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you don't have a business card, you really should. They're very easy to do. There are templates on sites like Vistaprint. Also, if you're intimidated even by that, go to Ultrex. You can call them up. They're right here in Lady Lake. Jerry Hicks is a wonderful man. He does all of our stuff here. He does a lot of business cards for a lot of writers. Go into him with the information that you want on the card, and he can design it for you. But it's again, that's if you're uncomfortable with going to someplace like Vistaprint. But if you go to Vistaprint or Next Day Flyers and a bunch of other companies, they actually have a template, and you just sort of fill in the blanks. If you want a picture on it, you can upload a picture. But again, if you're not comfortable doing that, go to Ultrex. If you want a picture, like a picture of your book on it or something, go with either the software for the picture, on a stick, or just have your, Joe Smith, author, and some information, whatever you want on the card, and he can do it for you very easily. Pricing. This is always something that is, I find very helpful to recommend to people. Prepare an easily understood sign for your table. Present a discount event price. What I like to, and always round the prices off to the whole number, because you don't want to deal with pennies and change. Here's a suggestion. On your sign, you have the book title. I like to put both the Amazon price and the Expo price so people see that they're getting a bargain. And that way they go, well, gee, I can go to Amazon, but wow, or I can buy it here at a significant discount. Cash sales. Most of us, I think, these days mostly buy credit. However, if people do come to Expo, they may have hit the cash machine first, and invariably they're getting 20s. So
That's true.
if you come to Expo, please make sure you have 1s and 5s. Bring some seed money, $40, $50 in seed money of 1s and 5s. Because your book might be $8, $10, $12, whatever, and they'll hand you that $20 bill. If you owe them $12 and change and you don't have anything yet, you've lost a sale. So that, I think, is important. This is really key, and both Mark and Paula discuss this in their training sessions. Most people these days buy most of their things by credit. A lot of us don't carry a lot of cash with us anymore. It's relatively easy to sell your books using credit, accepting credit. I'm going to talk about 2 different credit apps. One that I use and one that Paula really likes. Avoid the rec center Wi-Fi. It's really spotty and you don't need it. Just use the Bluetooth on your phone and it works perfectly. You download the apps. I'm going to talk about Square and GoDaddy. Now, you can download apps for Square or GoDaddy via either the Google Play or iPhone store, depending on whether or not you have an Android phone or a iPhone. Just go to the store, the Google Play store or the iPhone store, look up the app and download it. The downloads are free. You have to link your bank information because when you do the credit sale, it goes directly into your bank. So the first thing you do is go through the app, and it will tell you, it'll ask you a whole bunch of information, including your bank. That's legit, they need that. And once that's set up, then you can go forward. But you have to decide, obviously, which app you're using. I use Square. Now, I'm just going to show you what one of the Square receivers looks like. This is the one I have. It is now, I looked it up, it was last year, it hasn't gone up in price. It was $59 last year, it still is. I've used this probably for the last 3 years. You can use it for many years, so you're amortizing the cost over, however many years you use it. Sir?
Rita, they actually, if you sign up for Square, they send you one app free.
Okay.
You get the first one of those free. After that, you have to buy it, more than one.
Okay. Yeah, I've had Square for so long, I don't know. But so this is, it will take you can either tap it, insert it, or if you're having problems with that, you can, on your phone, it'll allow you to type in the credit card. So that is how Square works. Now, a lot of people, and if Paula was here, she would tell you that she, come on, there we go. Some people like GoDaddy. GoDaddy.com doesn't use an external receiver. You actually can tap your phone, or you enter it manually. They're both very good choices, and they also provide a lot of other services. There are businesses that are run, sometimes you'll walk into a small business and they'll have a little bit larger Square reader because they're running their whole business on Square, for example. Regardless of the approach, practice ahead of time. I've used mine for years now, but still, if I haven't used it for a few months, I buy something with my own credit card. I turn it on, because you have to go to the site and access it, so it's there, it's available on your phone, and then I'll make sure that my receiver has been charged, and then you tap it or you plug in the card, and then I'll buy something for myself for $1, just to remind myself of how it works, because the last thing that you want to do when you've got somebody in front of you is to start struggling with, how does the technology work? Yeah. And this ties in beautifully with Paula's tech tips that Jeannie had mentioned before. If you're confused about how to use your credit card reader, just go to YouTube or Google. I'm telling you, I have learned a tremendous amount over the years from both of those. Type in, for example, how to use my Square credit card reader, and you'll find probably 6 or 8 people who have spent a fair amount of time creating videos that you can stop at any time, listen to it, go back, listen again, until you are really comfortable with it. It's a great resource, and the people make money by having people subscribe to their channels, but you don't have to, and you can still learn a lot. And somebody had said to me, which is why we wanted to focus on the fact that YouTube is free. A friend of mine last month said to me, well, I don't have YouTube. I said, well, everybody has YouTube. You just go to youtube.com and all of the information is there, and you're not paying for it. So I hadn't even been aware that there was some concern on people's parts, that they were thinking perhaps that it was like a channel on your TV or something, but it's not. It's available to everyone. And this is just some of the costs involved. I'm not going to go over them in detail. I would say in GoDaddy is probably a little cheaper. Bottom line, on a $10 book, you'll be probably paying 30 to 35 cents. I think it's worth it for the sale. So it's basically up to you, but and the money is in your bank account within 1 to 2 days. Usually by the time I go home that night and I look at this stuff, the detail is there. You also have a summation of your sales for the day when you go to the app. They're incredibly good. Keeping track of sales. This isn't so much of an issue if you only have one book, but if you've got a number of titles, I find it worthwhile to create a spreadsheet. If you're not big with spreadsheets, you can do it on lined paper. I list each book title, the price, the number that I brought with me to the event, and then I leave space for each time that I've sold one that day. And then at the end of the day, I just have to go across and I know exactly what I've sold. And I would suggest then that you also make a note on that sheet of how much money you've seeded the event with, so that you don't get confused. If you've brought $40 or $50 in ones and fives, make that note, see what you've got left out of that, and the rest is your sales numbers. This is something that the promotion suggestion is something that Mark Newhouse brought up at his training session last year, and again this year, that I liked and I started doing. I've had thank you cards printed that I put into every book that somebody buys.
That's nice.
That has, thank you. You can word it however you choose, but along the lines of thank you for purchasing one of my books. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please leave a review on Amazon.com. You can visit my website, get a discount on future books, whatever. But it's one more opportunity to reach out to people and have them have information about you. Florida sales tax liability. This is a public service announcement. You can take it for what it's worth. An event like Book Expo is looked at by the Florida Sales Revenue Office as a taxable event. Exhibitors making retail sales or remote sales must collect Florida state sales tax at the rate of 6%, plus applicable discretionary sales surtax on their sales unless the sale is exempt, as for nonprofit. Okay. Yeah, I have more slides. Okay. The state may send inspectors to events. I've not actually seen it happen, but I know it does. Yeah.
When we order our author copies, say from Amazon, we are
You're paying tax to Amazon. Yes, you are.
we able to deduct what we paid?
It's good to talk about Amazon. The stuff that you sell through Amazon or buy through Amazon, the actual books are not, you don't have to worry about those sales because they're paying the tax. This is based upon the sell price of your book at the event. So it's the sell price of the book at the event, which in fact does include the tax that you've already paid for the author copy. But most of us don't sell a tremendous amount, and the sales tax is 7% if you add the 1% for Sumter County. You can register with Florida and submit either quarterly or annually. I submit annually. It's not a ton of money. And I get a sales and use tax return. DR-15EZ is the annual form. You can register at floridarevenue.com, or you Google Florida Sales Tax Account Registration to find the online registration. I'm not the tax police. You choose to do it or not as you see fit. I just feel obligated to mention it. So, all right, this is the program, actually. It won't look like that because that's in color. This is last year's program, and I point this out because I think everybody gets really busy when they get to set up, and they may just slide this into the box of their books and not actually look at it. So I'm pointing it out. Everybody that comes to the event will be offered a program. Now, the program front is right here. The back has the genres that everybody has signed up, has indicated when they did their registration. We asked you what kinds of books you wrote. You wrote that down. We then have numbers associated with various genre types. For example, 1 is memoir or biography, 2 is history. When you get down to 9, it's mystery, suspense, and thrillers. And I point that out because we're trying to help people find you. So if somebody comes in and they say, gee, I want romance. Well, I'm going to show you the next page where you can find the authors associated with those genre numbers. We also have a room key on the back because people's numbers are BR for Bradley, NK for Nimitz King, MA for Marshall. So that's important information because we want you to not only know where your stuff is, we want you to be able to help people find other people. And so this is what the inside of the program will look like. And it lists all of you in alphabetical order, last name first, by last name, first name, genre, and then the room and table number. And that gets me to the table number. You will also have on your tables a number, which we want you to put in the upper left-hand corner of your tablecloth, which is why you will also get one of these. And that way, and it'll be here, not there, it'll be here, so when people walk into the room and they have found that, for example, Christine Campbell, who is genre 4, which is historical fiction, that she's at table BR05. So they walk into the Bradley room and they kind of look around and they go, oh, there's BR05. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to find you. But likewise, if somebody comes to your table, for example, and you're selling historical fiction, and they're really looking for romance, well, you can say to them, well, okay, that's 18 on your program, and look down your list here, well, there's Lee Court. She's, at table BR14. So if we help other people, you're providing a service to the audience, the people, the clients, so the customers, whatever we want to call them. Plus you're helping out your fellow members and hopefully they'll do the same. So I wanted to let people know because I think last year a bunch of people just threw their programs in their box and never really looked at it. It has some very key information that hopefully will be helpful to everybody, including the customers that come in. We will have volunteers at all of the doors with programs and clipboards trying to help people find what they're looking for. Best recommendation, don't judge your success by how many books you sell. Did you make contacts? Did you feel energized by the experience? I don't know about you, but I always come away from Expo feeling totally exhilarated and pumped up because I've surrounded myself all day with creative people and people who enjoy reading. I just think it's a great experience. And did you learn something? Because often, obviously, every day we learn things that we didn't know that we find valuable. So those are some of the criteria that I personally try to use. Bottom line, smile, talk to people, and have fun. Any questions? Yes?
Do you recommend that we sign the books before we get there?
I don't normally, because a lot of times people will want you to sign it for them or for a person, and they like to see you do. I think they like to see you do it, because it's part of the interaction.
Also, too, they love it when I say, I'll sign one for you.
Right, yeah. As Jeannie would say, I was just saying, they like it when you say, I'll sign one for you. Or I tend to say, would you like me to sign it for you? Is there someone you would like me to, sign it for? Here's another key, another suggestion. There are a million ways to spell names. I suggest having a little scrap pad there, and if they say it's Diane, say, is that D-I-A-N-E? Because it might be D-I-A-N-N. It might, there's a million ways to spell almost every name these days. And the last thing you want to do is ruin the book, because now you've misspelled it, and they're not going to want it because their granddaughter's name is whatever. So write it out ahead of time, ask them for the spelling.
Is there a certain page you're supposed to sign on?
It depends on where you've got room. A lot of times it's the inside, the first page. On my children's book, that's very busy, so I sign on the inside white cover. But a lot of times it's when you open it's the first written page on the right-hand side. If that's not too busy, like I said on my children's book, which is all in color, that's very busy. So I've started writing on the inside cover, which is white. Yes, Ken?
So just so you know, the Square point of sale app also now connects to your phone's ability to do a scan. So you don't need to buy a reader.
So they don't have, okay.
They do
I
like
was
that,
not
yes.
positive about that, so I didn't bring it up. That's for definite now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've used it, I've tested
Okay,
it.
so Square does not require that you buy the receiver anymore, so they offer what GoDaddy does.
Exactly.
Which is the point of sale on your phone. Thank you, Ken.
The other
I
thing-
thought that might be true, but I wasn't positive, so I didn't want to say it.
Quick question. So if Square's charging me 34 cents, let's say, I'm selling books for $10 in print, but if you for cash, but if you want to pay with the credit card, is it okay for me to say $10.34 for credit card pay, or are
It's
they going to be
okay,
$10?
but do you really want to deal with 67 cents or whatever it is?
No,
with
only for
34 cents?
credit card payments, which it won't matter, right? I'm not
Oh,
collecting
I
change.
see. Yeah, you may turn people off.
Yeah.
I think you might turn people off for that 34 cents. I would be annoyed. Because usually when we go to stores, other than occasionally, where they'll say it's 3.3 cents if you, 3.3% if you want to use your credit card, more often than not, it's all included. I would suggest including it because I think you might annoy people. You don't want to do that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, if you rolled it into the price, then, and it was an even number, like $10, including tax and GoDaddy fee or whatever, then you wouldn't have any trouble making change for people.
Right,
Dollar bills.
right, precisely. That was my point, that you don't want to deal in change. You just want to have everything in a round number. And if you can do the 5s, 10s, and 20s, fine. But if it doesn't work out and the book is $12 or whatever, you have singles, 5s, and 10s, because there will still be cash sales. Yes, Diane?
If you happen to have a children's book and it's being given to a child, you might want to print the thing because a lot of them can't read cursive.
A lot of adults can't read cursive either these days. Good point, yeah, yes. Unfortunately, cursive is, we're as old as us, I think. Yes, Gil?
Just a hint on marketing. I don't know, probably everybody does what I do in this regard. you keep an email list of people who have bought your books or contacted them. And all these people bought your book, so you're saying, okay, I'm gonna tell them to come see me again. You know you're gonna do that, but you also know they've already bought a book. So the only reason they would come is to buy another book to give to somebody else. But I always include in there, it says, if you really like my book, there are so many other good authors here. You are going to want to grab one of their books of the same genre. So we need to promote other people. They may come to get by you and say hi and shake your hand and that kind of thing, but hopefully they're also there to buy somebody's book, even if it's not your book.
Thank you, Gil. I want to leave a little time because our next slide is Chris Cooper, who is going to show table preparation, putting your best sales face forward. I will give it to Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Rita does so much work, as do a lot of people here, and I think we all owe them a great big thank you, because putting this together, it's a big deal, and we work on it all year long just for your success. So I really encourage you to be grateful. It's a lot of work. Anyway, my name is Chris Cooper. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your table. The most important thing is getting people to come to your table, right? You want to attract people. And there's a whole sea of tables there. Why will they come to yours? So that's the most important thing to recognize. What can you do to make it special? First thing I want you to do is to look at the covers of your books. If you have just one book, it's easy. You can pick up the colors and then duplicate that on your table. If you have multiple books, try and find a commonality in the covers so that you can pick up those covers so your book looks like it's presented well. Okay? My particular book is called Stress-Free Entertaining, so I did my table in that way. If you have a children's book, dress your table to attract people that are looking for a children's book, right? Bright colors, pick up the colors that are on your cover. Also, I mean, I've seen people that are dressed in costume to reflect their genre. So whatever you can do to get people to come to your table is important, okay? It's important for your sales. Now, just to show you, talk to you a little bit about the logistics. I like to do first a skirt. I got this on Amazon. I think it was $14. It never wrinkles. It balls up into a little bag, and it's perfect. I use it all the time. If you don't want to go that way, even a twin white flat sheet will work to cover. The reason you want to cover the back of your table is this is where you want to put your lunchbox and your extra books, and you want it hidden. You don't want it seen from the front of your table. So give that some thought. Then I put a tablecloth on top of that, something reflecting my genre. Again, if you have a children's book, you want bright colors. And going along with that, dress the part. Match your table. If you're selling a children's book, wear bright colors. In fact, it's probably a good idea to wear bright colors in whatever genre you are, just to attract people to you. Okay? You want to look nice. You want to look as though people can approach you. Okay? That goes along with that smile. All right? So all of that works together. Okay, the next thing is you want people, okay, they're walking, right? You want to get as eye level as possible. All right? So that they will see your stuff rather than looking down. So you want to raise up whatever you can on your table. I have this box. In that box, which I've covered, in this box I can keep extra books, I can keep change, I can keep extra supplies, pencils, paper, whatever. So inside this, and then I cover the box. But it raises up my book. Okay, you want to have something to display your book. These are easy, inexpensive. And if you have like a hard copy and a paperback, maybe you want to show both of them. All right, the other thing you want to do is I have my pricing. I put it in a frame. It's easy to see. You can do it any way you want. Just make it look nice. Okay, I have my expo pricing, and I have it here. Again, it goes with my genre of like a dinner party. I keep thinking that's how I consider my genre. Oh, it's a dinner party. What would you use in a dinner party? The other thing is a little frame. I like to get people's email addresses. And the way that I do that is I'll have a bowl here, and I'll say, enter a drawing for a free book. And they put their email address down to get that free book, and they put it in there, and I'll print up before the event some little tickets where they can write their name and their email address, and we'll put that in, and they're in for the drawing. And of course, I will give that book away, but at the same time, I've gotten something even more valuable to me, and that's their email address, which I can put into for my newsletter or future mailings. So that's a good thing to do. I also like to have okay, you want people to linger at your table too, as long as possible. The longer they're there, the better the chance they're going to buy one of your books. So I will have like a bowl of candy or something like that where people will come by and pick it up, and they'll stop and talk. Anything you can get to attract them, and food is always a good way, get them to your table, all right? And then maybe you want something about yourself so they get to know you a little bit. That's always a good idea. And just be relaxed, smile, know your book, be prepared to answer questions, but be welcoming to people, okay? Maybe be a little silly. Do something to make people laugh. Anything you can to attract people to your table is to your benefit, okay? So any questions? Yes?
Can you have free chocolate kisses or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anything to get them to come over, okay? I did a bunch of cookies, and I wrapped them with, make sure they're individually wrapped too, just for health and cleanliness. So I wrapped up a bunch of cookies in plastic with a little bow around them, and people came by, and some of them came by several times. That's okay. That's okay. So whatever you can, but anything to attract people to your table is the most important thing. Yes, ma'am?
My book is about the 60s. Could I have soft 60s music playing?
No. I don't think so.
No.
No. Because it will detract. The tables some of them are pretty close.
Yeah.
So you don't want to detract from your neighbor.
How about a joint?
Sure.
Where is your table?
Sure, share. Anyway, so in any case, I hope I covered it. Make your table look as good as you can. Put some time into it and some thought to make it look special, and also how you look. Okay, comb your hair that morning, stuff like that. It's always good. Yes.
I think it was Paula said something about putting your name and the genre on a piece of paper or whatever, on a placard on your table.
That's a good idea too.
Is that
Sure.
something you recommend?
As much as you can, you've got all this room. If you've got one of the 6-foot tables, fill it up. Because the more stuff you have here, the more people will stay and look. Okay, again, the longer they linger, the better the chance they're going to buy a book. All right, yes?
So, piggybacking on that question about the music, you could not have a little video thing playing or something that showed something about the book?
A video is fine. I doubt people are really gonna look at it because people will be wandering through and they'd have to like bend down and whatever. So
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that they would, unless you had like 2 or 3 pictures that just flashed period or whatever,
Okay.
something like that. But just imagine there's people just wandering and there's sometimes in crowds, sometimes 2 or 3, but you never know. So if you're going to have like an iPad up and you might have 3 or 4 pictures flashing on it periodically, that might get people's attention. But a video, I don't think it would hold people's attention.
Oh, one other thing I forgot, it was brought to my attention, people are attracted to light, okay? So somebody made the suggestion of having a battery-operated lamp showing on your book just to make it, have it highlighted a bit. Just a thought. Yeah?
That's a good
So,
idea.
I'm your event day coordinator, and I can tell you from experience, you've got your table set up, you've got your books there. The best thing you can do, look somebody in the eye. Hi, how are you? Even if they're not coming to your table. Hi, how are you? Draw them in. This is a day that you have undivided attention. And as writers, I know we're introverts by nature, most of us, and it's very hard to expend that energy on the day of your event. But this is a day where somebody can actually maybe buy your book, get your card, and pass that along to somebody. So you have a captive audience. Make the most of it by making eye contact with that person and saying hi. Even if they don't stop at your table, there are going to be a lot of people who will. So that would be my suggestion.
And dovetailing on what Sandy says, you in addition to saying hi, you can say, hey, thanks for coming today. You know, just again, it's don't sit and stare at your books.
Stand up, okay? And if you're a bit of an introvert, sometimes being a little bit silly helps us get out of it, okay? So for instance, if you're a little, put a funny hat on. Something that people will say, they'll stop and they'll look, give it a second look. But it helps you get by that awkwardness because you're being silly and it's a little bit out of character, but it works. It works. Yes?
Ask where they're from, because I'm from Ohio and the setting of all my books is Ohio. So if they say they're from Ohio, they might not even be that vested in true crime. But when they hear that your books are all about places in Ohio, that helps. And carry self-addressed stamped envelopes. And if you trust people and they say, I would love to have that book, but I'm out of money today, trust them. Give them a self-addressed stamped envelope and offer them the book that they want.
Great idea. Great idea. In the back.
I found it very useful. I took my very short back cover blurb and enlarged it and put it in a plastic stands thing. People don't have their glasses on. They can't read the back of the book, but it stands there, they can read it. Or if yours is long, cut it down to just a few lines. Show them what the book's about. Don't just
That's great. That's a great idea.
Don't stand behind your table, stand beside it. Don't sit down. I'm serious. When I go to places like this, I see people sitting behind, I just say hi and keep walking. If you're standing here, it's a little tough to walk past me. Yeah, especially me.
Yeah, that's great. Great idea, because you want people to come to you. And if you're eye level with them, it makes all the difference. If you're sitting down, they're just going to walk right by. All right? This is your chance. Make this all about you and your book. All right? Get a little creative. enlarge the back. Another thing that I've used, I forgot to bring it today, I have like an easel where I can do, what was it, 11 by 14? On
18
the
by
table.
24.
Again, elevating.
Oh, on the table.
Yeah, on the table,
Sorry.
elevating so that when people walk by, they're seeing something, all right? A lot of people will just go flat on the table and people just walk by. Okay, so you want things at as eye level as possible. Yes?
If you have a new book coming out soon, is it not a good idea to advertise it?
It's your chance. It's your chance. So this is it, okay? Make the best out of it. Use this table space every square inch that you can. Don't make it look too busy. Try and coordinate the colors and the style of what you're doing, but fill it up because you're paying for it, right? So make good use of your time. You only have one chance to make a good impression, and as people walk by, try and do that. All right? Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Do you have to keep everything on your table? Can you, if you're have your table to the wall behind you, can you be
The tables are all
behind you?
pushed out.
Huh?
The tables.
I know that, yeah. You're behind it, but then you still have a wall. Can you present something on without attaching it to the wall? I know that, but you just
No.
said an easel or something that you have.
The easel needs to be on the table.
Everything needs to be on the table.
Or behind,
You can have
right?
an easel behind.
You can
can't
have
put
it.
anything on
You
the
can
wall.
have something behind you, but as long as it's not.
Right, the limit is, what is 11 by 14?
18 by 24.
18 by
easel
24, which is pretty big,
behind. Yeah,
but it has to be within the confines behind your table.
on an easel.
Yeah. Okay?
I have a question. What do you think about taking pictures as the people buy your book? Take a picture of you with the book and the person, you know, and then you can certainly use it on Facebook or other social media sites.
That's a good idea. Good promotion.
Permission.
Think,
You're
get
gonna have to get a
creative in
release
your own
for that.
promotion.
If you try
This
to
is
do
your
that, take your
chance.
picture and post it somewhere, you're gonna have to have a release from them to do it.
they're your friends. If they're your friend, okay, I see your point.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. What's next, Rita?
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Okay.